Is your child prepared for college or trade school? Does your child have the requirements to successfully fill out a college application? If not, tune in today's episode with Dr. Stephen Jones.
Welcome. You are tuned into Ice Cold TV Television Network. I am your host, Jasmine Rowland. Thank you for joining us on this evening's episode, where we will be talking to Dr. Stephen Jones on the topic of college readiness. Welcome, Dr. Jones. How are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you so much for having me to your program this evening.
Thank you for joining us. Well, again, I would like to reiterate that today's topic, or this evening's topic, is college readiness. And I would like for you to break down exactly what college readiness is, because that term is being thrown around in plenty of high schools. You hear it. We have to prepare our students to be college ready. You know, even on standardized testing, you have the readiness questions, so on and so forth. So can you kind of break that down for us? What is college readiness?
College readiness actually, to me, starts with all the courses that the students are taking to get ready for college. How in depth are they? What kind of opportunity for learning do they offer? Students are able to take honors classes and AP classes, which are advanced placement classes, which are kind of college-oriented classes. And what pathway has that student been on during the time that they've been in high school? Have they been cultured in a situation where the school instruction is at a high level and they've seen students year after year go on to college? But readiness says, I'm prepared. I've read at levels, I've taken math at levels, I've taken the chemistry courses at levels that have challenged me in such a way that when I get to college, I'll be prepared to be successful. Those are the elements. What are the classes that they're in? And specifically for me, I'm kind of biased since I work with engineering students at the university that I work at. I'm always talking about what kind of math pathway you've been on, whether you've taken physics or kind of like science classes that you've taken to prepare for the curriculum that you'll experience when you get to college.
Now, in your and that's a great breakdown of that, by the way. In your opinion, when students do enter uh, college, do you believe that they have been prepared, in your honest opinion?
In my honest opinion, that's why I wrote my book on study skills, because I found that most students don't know how to study. They go through high school taking certain classes, but none of the teachers actually teach them how to study their subject. So what the students are doing in high school is memorizing material. Then they get to college and they have to learn how to study. Plus, they have to learn how to take the information that they learned, that they memorized, and apply it to something.
Right.
Apply it to a theory, apply it to something that they've read. Think outside of the box in terms of this literature course, and that I can write my own opinion, not just give back to me what the book said. So I think that's where there's always this disconnect between what they're experiencing in high school and what they're going to have to do when they actually get to college.
I honestly will have to say I completely agree with you. As a high school educator myself, um, students are not prepared to enter into college, um, and it's a sad thing.
Mhm.
Um, but you mentioned that the teachers are not preparing. How what role do the counselors play in that
Mhm.
with putting them in the correct courses? Because I'm finding with seniors year after year, it's just let's put them in a course, but it's nothing that is along the pathways that they need to take in order to figure out, you know, post high school, what do
Mhm.
I do? How do I need to do it? So can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Good point. So the one issue, and I can just talk about the city of Philadelphia because that's what's near me, but and you can translate this to cities all around the country. The counselor to student ratio is often one counselor to 250 students, one counselor to 500 students. So it becomes very difficult for the counselors to give the students the kind of attention that I believe they should have. And so, a lot of them will go into a class, they'll speak to a class, but some of the students do need that personal attention to make the right decisions along the pathway. Again, if you're talking about, let's say you want to be a physician or you want to work anywhere in those sciences, you're going to have to take the right pathway. And sometimes students, they're at algebra 2 in the 12th grade.
Mhm.
Well, they need to be in calculus by the 12th grade. They're considering some of these courses and careers that they're interested in. And that's where the disconnect is. I think that it has to be a team effort between the counselors and the teachers working together to get the young people in the right direction. And also exposing them to things that will keep them motivated once they get in those courses. I'm a firm believer that every student every student should experience career day every month that they're in high school. There should be something career oriented so they can see how their education applies to actually going out into the real world.
Absolutely. So it's unfortunate, you mentioned again about the coursework, the intrinsic motivation, extrinsic motivation, all those type of factors. Um, are you finding that a lot of those courses are not being offered in high school to kind of expose them to the outside or post high school,
Mhm.
education?
Hmm. So yeah, again, a lot of these courses, the calculus, the pre-calculus, the biology too, all those things, because of both financial situations as well as just not having the teachers to teach those courses, are often not offered. And what I recommend is that a parent talk to the school district about taking a course at a community college. So if those courses aren't offered, that's another option. Many of the school districts actually pay for that student to go to a community college and take that course. And it has a great benefit of them seeing what it is like to be in a college environment, what it means to study for a college test or quiz. So I always recommend that if you feel that your young person is going to be behind, that they can use the summer to kind of take some other courses to get them up to speed so that by their senior year, for example, if they're going to take calculus, they've had enough through um, their experiences with the community college.
Now, do you feel like believe that a your college is the only type of college that a student should consider? I know the push for, you know, the 4-year institutions is, really, really big, but do you think that that should be the only consideration for students, especially those who are
Huh.
lagging?
Yeah. So one of the things that just mentioning that about students taking college level courses, most 4-year or undergraduate institutions don't allow students to take like rent individual courses. You have to be a part of the college. So that's why I recommend going to a community college to take those courses, because most colleges don't offer courses. Some will actually come to the high school and maybe teach a certain course. That way students can come into the course. But I recommend both. And here's what I'm always concerned about is parents knowing their child. Has their child really been studying, and has their child really been challenged in the courses that they're in? And sometimes parents let peer pressure say, oh, my child is getting accepted to a 4-year college, when they're really not ready. They need to just take those 2 years to get themselves together, mature some more, take some tests at a college level, and then transition. And most of the 2-year colleges have an opportunity for you to take a transition directly into the 4-year undergraduate curriculum after you finish the 2 years. So most community colleges have those opportunities. I'm not saying, of course, I want everybody to go to a 4-year college, but I'm saying the community college is an option to consider. And also from a financial standpoint, you're not going to pay near as much as you would pay for the 4-year college for those 2 years. And then you can transition from there to being on campus and paying for housing and all those other things that come along with it. So yeah, I'm in favor of, and I also want to say, I know not everyone's going to go to college. Some students will go to trade school, and
Right.
that's fine as
I'll
well.
ask you about the trade school option.
Yeah. So actually, in outside of Philadelphia, we have a trade school that offers. It's a 4-year program, but it's all around the trades. Whether it's becoming an electrician, a plumber, a carpenter. Now they're having some tech in manufacturing, but all those different types of trainings are wonderful. Some students are just hands-on students. They need to feel it, hand it, design it, create it, and that's wonderful. But it gives you the kind of preparation for a future career, and that's why I think students need to be always taking that step toward a future career, whichever way it is, that they might need additional training to get to that place.
Right. And it goes back to those pathways that are offered on campuses as well, having those kind of CTE courses where cosmetology, I can recall when I was in school, we had home ec, we had all those different types of, courses
Mhm.
that did kind of expose students to something outside of a 4-year institution, just in case,
Yeah.
hey, college was not the option, and it seems, due to funding, that they've kind of stripped students of that type of coursework on campus.
Hmm.
But you did mention, you made it a point to say, take some uh, community college, courses and those things to kind of get that exposure as well. So that's great. Um, I had some more questions that I wanted to touch on. Now, what are students to expect on the college application? Because a lot of students are very, very unaware of how to complete the college app, what it involves. Can you talk to us about that, please?
Excellent. There's something today that didn't exist when I was in college years and years ago, called the Common Application. And what the Common Application does is it allows the student to fill out one form, and in that form, as part of your application, you're going to include, what, of course, what school you attended, your grades will be there, but all kinds of activities that you volunteered in, whether you were a leader of your track team, whether you're a leader of student government, whether you're in a newspaper, all those other kind of activities, whether you started your own organization. Those are the kinds of things that you can have, any awards that you have. So all of that goes into the application. And then there are essays that have to be completed. There are a couple of essays that have to be completed. And sometimes the colleges require you to complete an additional question. So be aware of that as well. So you fill out all this information into the Common Application. And then let's say you select 5 colleges. The wonderful thing here is that you push 5 buttons for those 5 colleges. All the fees are added together. You pay one fee, and the application goes to all 5 colleges. Now, just for the fun of it, when I was going to college, I got 5 applications in the mail. I had to fill out each one of the applications. If there were recommendations required, I had to fill out the recommendations for each one of them and then mail them back before the deadline. And so it's a much more convenient way to apply to colleges through the Common App. Most colleges are on the Common App today. A second process is there is a Common App for historically Black colleges and universities. And when you fill out this Common App, everything I just talked about, you're going to put the same thing in that form as well. All the activities, the volunteerism, the leadership, your grades, all that's going to go into the Common Application. But this time, it will go to every HBCU. So every historically Black college or university will get your application. And then, you'll have an opportunity to see what kind of feedback you get from there. But yeah, when you come into the 9th grade, you are setting the pattern of what you're going to actually put on that application in the 12th grade. All your activities and so forth will be there on the application.
So should 9th graders start to really kind of focus on, their college career, or is that too soon?
No, in fact, with my children, they started college prep when they were children. When we started reading to our children when they were in my wife's womb, and we read to them, and we cultivated this whole idea of going to college and had conversations about college when they were very young, and took them on college campuses. So the foundation, I believe, is laid as the person is very, very young. You want to plant the seeds and give them exposures all along, like summer programs and after school programs that are geared toward college prep. Some college campuses have experiences where you can spend the summer for a few weeks on their campuses and various programs. All that's developing the young person along to the place when they get to high school, when they can really engage in some wonderful activities that prepare them for college. But I firmly believe as early as your child comes to earth, you are in the process of getting them ready for their future opportunity with college.
No, I know finances is definitely one of the major concerns for most students, especially if you're, a Title I school, a low income school that has a lot of at risk and subpopulations.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some other, I know, of course, but could you share what are some other alternatives to, maybe loans, financial, could you take the time to kind of mention some of the financial options that are open?
Right. Well, in this area, I actually wrote a book called The Ultimate Scholarship Guide. And so I can talk about finding money. One of the things that I think every student should do is have a time of the week that's a scholarship time. So it may be Sunday morning, or it might be Saturday afternoon, that you actually have an hour that's devoted to doing research on finding scholarships, going on the internet, connecting with your library to see if there's things there in the library. But there may be books that you can get to uncover scholarships that are available. Making sure that you have the recommendations and individuals that will do those recommendations for you if you need them is an important element of getting ready to get your scholarship application in. And I always say, have a folder on your computer where you put your essays that you're writing for your scholarships, because you can take some of those essays and use them with other scholarships that you're applying for. The main thing is don't give up. What happens is a student will send in 5, 6 applications for scholarships, and they'll get 5 rejections, and they'll say, oh man, see, I put all that effort in, it wasn't even worth it. When possibly the 8th or the 10th, you might have got $5,000 to $10,000 because you kept going.
Right.
So this whole idea of applying for scholarships should be something that you continually do as well. A lot of organizations, for example, there's 100 Black Men. There are all different types of organizations that offer, like they're engineering organizations or science organizations or education organizations. School districts offer scholarships. That's another thing. Many times the schools themselves offer scholarships and the students don't apply. So that's, again, another reason why you need to go talk to your counselor to find out if your school has any scholarships that you can apply to. And the main thing is making sure that you meet the deadline. I've seen students miss out on a $5,000 to $10,000 scholarship that they would have been eligible for because they didn't submit it on time. So that's the importance of every week having a schedule, and every week actually applying for these scholarships and having a calendar of when they're due. And you can talk to, work with your parent, like make it a team effort. I'm sure your parent doesn't want to pay any more for college than they have to. The other thing is, once you get the award from your university, you don't have to settle for the award that they gave you. You can always submit an appeal letter to them requesting more money. And even if they give you $2,000, it'll be $2,000 that you didn't have.
Right.
So, always don't consider it like an inconvenience that you're asking the university for more money. It may be money that you actually deserve, and you just didn't pursue it. So there's a lot of work to be done. Also, there's some YouTube videos on scholarships. I have some of my own YouTube videos as well that you can just search out on YouTube. Just put scholarships and see what comes up, and watch some of those videos. They give you some pointers that you can use as well. If you're on Instagram, there's some people on Instagram that you can search out who are giving scholarship information or have scholarship videos. That's another place that you can go as well.
Excellent. Well, I definitely appreciate the wealth of information that you have provided this evening. And you mentioned earlier some of your books that you've written. Could you please, again, for our audience and our listeners, tell us the title of your books and where can we purchase them?
Yes. So I actually have a new website. It's different than the one that's on the screen. So I want to make sure that I say that.
Okay.
So it's drjonesbooks.com. That's DRJONESBOOKS.com. And so if you go to that website, there's tabs at the top for each of the books: the scholarship book, the parents book, and the study skills book that you can order directly. Or your school, you were talking about Title I earlier, and there are schools that you will purchase the books with their Title I funding for their parents and for their students to take advantage of the study skills and finding these scholarships. And the scholarship book has over 100 scholarship websites in it. It teaches you how to go after those scholarships, what are the processes for getting those scholarships, how to do the recommendation, how to get recommendation letters. So it's a really wealth of knowledge, but easy to read. It's more of a workbook. The study skills is for middle school, high school, first year college, on how to study, how to organize yourself, how to develop a plan. And it gives you specific strategies that you can use to be successful with that. And then the parents book is basically birth through 12th grade. How do I prepare my child for college or for a trade school? How do I help them to be academically excellent? How do I help them earn A+ grades? That's what that book is all about, for the parents specifically. So I have one for the student, one for the parent, and one to teach you how to get those scholarships. And again, you can go to drjonesbooks.com, DRJONES books.com.
That is amazing. And I can, again, definitely appreciate the wealth of information that you're offering, not only students, but also parents, to get them involved and knowledgeable about how to, get their students in the right path to attend college. Um, and again, thank you so much, Dr. Jones, for joining us today. We really do appreciate, uh, again, the briefcase full. I've learned some things. So, is there any final thoughts of encouragement or words that you would like to leave um, the audience, students, parents, or both?
Yes, so I would like to leave you with a word of encouragement in terms of believing that you can achieve any one of your dreams. And part of that involves getting started today. Don't wait until, down the road. A lot of students and parents, they just wait, but now is the time, because a year is going to go by faster than you think. And specifically this month, you'll be able to start applying for financial aid. You want to apply as early as possible so that as your child is getting accepted to college, you have the money and the resources for them to be successful. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you. I'm hoping to do this every month, put out a different video and have a different conversation that will be helpful to everyone, the students, the parents, the educators, and in any way that I can be beneficial.
Well, we would love to have you again.
Well, thank you. Thank you so
Again,
much.
thank you so much. And thank you guys for tuning in to ISPO TV Television Network with Dr. Stephen Jones. I hope that it has been very informative for you guys. And again, thank you for the encouraging words. Don't wait till the last minute and do not give up. We'll see you again. iSchool TV, Jasmine Rowland, signing out.